and welcome back to my channel. So if you've seen any of my previous videos, you realize that this background behind me is nothing like my usual background. And that is for one very simple reason. It's that I am currently at uni, I have arrived, I'm settled in, and I'm feeling so grateful, so happy to be here and to be able to start medical school and jump on this new life journey to become a doctor. However, this kind of emotions that I'm feeling now were not always like that. Before leaving, I was stressed, I was panicked, I was sad. All of these emotions that we usually don't like to feel, I was feeling them. I was crying every single day as well. And this kind of also was the inspiration for this video, because I realized that if I was feeling all of these emotions and all of these feelings before leaving, probably a lot of other people that are going to start university are feeling the same way. And so I figured that maybe I could do a video to help you guys and talk about a few of the topics that scared me before leaving. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about my journey to university, the whole process of getting here. Then I'll talk to you guys about leaving my parents, leaving my brother. How hard was it? How did I cope with it? Then I talk to you guys about what did I do on the plane when I was alone. That was the first time that I was actually alone. How did I feel? Then I'll talk to you guys about my first night in this student accommodation. What did I do to feel a bit more comfortable? Then I'll move on to talk to you guys about how do I feel now. And then I'll finish it off by giving you guys advice on how to make this transition, this life transition, a bit more comfortable and a bit better. So if this interests you, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share this video with other people that could benefit from it as well. And now that all of this is out of the way, let's get into the video. Okay, so to start off this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys briefly about my journey to getting here. So it kind of gives you a context, and later on when I'm going to talk about my emotions and how I felt, maybe it makes a bit more sense. So my parents live very far away from where I live now, basically, and to get here, it was a very long journey. I had a first flight that was over 10 hours long, then I arrived at the destination, had to wait around in the airport for a few hours, and then had another flight that was under an hour long to get where I'm at here. Then a family friend picked me up with my 4 luggages, which was a big hassle. Then I arrived here, got my key from my accommodation. She brought me back to my room, left me, and that's when I realized that I was alone and that I now had to take care of myself, unpack on my own, and literally just cater for myself, cater for my needs, because no one was going to do it if I was not going to do it. So that was kind of a moment of realization. Then I just arrived here, unpacked everything. My flatmate, was with me. She arrived the same day. We chatted for a little bit, we ate, then we just both unpacked, went to bed, unwinded, and that basically was my first day here. So that's kind of my journey to uni. Very basic, very simple. Okay, so now that I've talked to you guys about the general things and the context of how I got here, I think now it's not good to move on to the topic of leaving my parents and was it hard and how did I cope with it. So for me, leaving my parents was very hard. I'm not gonna go around it, there's nothing around it. I cried all of the days, leading on to the day I was actually gonna be leaving. And then the moment where I actually left, giving the final hugs at immigration was extremely difficult. I was crying a lot because I was really realizing that you're leaving your parents, you're leaving your family, you're going into this unknown city that you don't know very well on your own. And it's going to be difficult at some points, I know that, but it was pretty difficult for me also to know that I didn't know when I was going to see my parents again. I don't have a timeline because of the whole COVID situation. But when I passed immigration, I was still crying at that point. And then I kind of talked to myself internally and I was like, okay, you are allowed to cry. You are allowed to be sad, but you have to remember that you are living your dream. You are going out there, you're going on your own because you're pursuing your dream, you're strong, you've worked so hard to get to where you're now. And so leaving your parents and leaving your brother is a positive thing. It means that you are growing, you are taking the next step in your life and you're pursuing your dream. So I was kind of telling myself that over and over and over again, and that kind of really helped me stop crying because I was now focusing on the future and focusing on everything that was positive and why I was leaving, all of the good reasons why I was leaving, rather than focusing on what I was leaving behind, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much how I coped with leaving my parents. After, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not easy, and it's not easy to cope with seeing your brother cry, seeing your parents cry because you're leaving. It's not easy, but the way I also coped with that was that I left a few things behind. So on my whiteboard at home, I left a note for the three of them. I also left a song because I love singing, so I left them a song for them to listen to. And I also left my brother a little gift and a letter. So that's also the way that I was like, okay, I'm leaving, but I'm not forgetting you guys. I still love you. And that also helped me cope. So maybe that could also help you guys cope as well. Just talking about this is making me pretty emotional still, but we're getting through this together. So that was on the topic of leaving my parents and if it was hard. Now let's move on to how I felt on the plane, because for me, leaving my parents was one thing, but being in the plane, having, the cabin crew tell you that the doors are closed, is kind of a moment of realization that yes, you're in that plane and now you have no other way of getting out, and you have to get to that destination, and there's no U-turn possible. And how did I feel when I was in that plane and knowing that, there's no going back now? And at that point, I remember that I was very sad. I was crying a lot because I just was really sad of leaving my parents and my family. But on the other side, I remember that but when I was like taking off and all of that, I was on my phone and I wrote maybe a few pages on Notes, the Notes app. And I just wrote everything that was going on in my mind, saying that yes, I was sad, but it was normal to be sad. It's normal, it's totally human to feel sad when you're going through such a big change in your life and leaving people behind. But I also was writing something that I think really helped me. I wrote about my emotional waves, feeling that on the days leading on to leaving, as well as on the particular day that I was leaving, so 2 days ago, I was going through emotional waves, meaning that I could, in the same day, I would go from being extremely happy and excited to be going to university and being, living my dream. But I was also on the other side feeling extremely panicked, stressed, and sad. And that was kind of like a wave this way that happened for the whole day. And so in the plane, I wrote about that, and I was telling to myself that now I have a choice to make. The first thing is that I don't have a choice of leaving of like staying anymore. I'm already in the plane and I'm going to go to uni. I already made that choice a long time ago. But now I have a choice of how I'm going to face that. How am I going to feel towards that? I have two different options. I have the first choice is that I can focus on the fact that I left, on the fact that, I left my family, on the fact that I'm sad and anxious and stressed and kind of fearful and panicked to be living on my own and to be in a new environment. I can either focus on that, or I can focus on the fact that I'm excited. I'm happy to meet to be meeting new people. I'm happy to be doing medicine. I'm so excited to actually learn about, medicine and become a doctor and become a better person and learn and grow and, just become a better version of myself. So now I have the choice to focus on either of these two things. And in that plane, I chose to focus on my excitement and on the fact that I am going to be living my dream, and I'm going to become a better version of myself. And that really helped me to be like, okay, now just pull yourself together. You're allowed to be sad, but don't be sad for too long, because there's so many positive things that you can also focus on, and focus on these things rather than focusing on what you're leaving behind. So maybe that can also help you when you're leaving for university. I hope it can. At least it helped me. So now I'm going to be talking to you guys about my first night alone here, and was it difficult, and how did I cope with it. So personally, my first night alone here was not difficult at all. I felt pretty good, and that I think was because I already went through the whole emotional wave, and I already made my choice to focus on the positive aspects of being here and why I'm here, rather than all of the negatives and the fear and the sadness. So at that point, I was already, set that I chose to be happy to be here. But also I unpacked the first day, so it already felt like similar to my previous room. There was already all of my stuff here, so it didn't feel that much different. Also with my parents, in my parents' house, I have my own room, so it wasn't really that much of a difference. So the first night here was not difficult at all. I was also extremely tired because of the time difference, so I just really fell asleep like that. There was no really big issues. So I wouldn't really stress too much about the first night here. especially if you're taking a plane and having a long haul flight, because you'll be so tired you'll just fall asleep in like 2 minutes. To be honest, that's literally what happened to me. Okay, so now let's move on to me explaining to you guys how do I feel now. So just for context, right now it's 2 days after I arrived and I'm feeling pretty good. You know, like I talked to you guys about leaving my family, leaving my parents, and my emotions about that. I got, yes, pretty emotional when I was talking about that internally, but I didn't start to tear up or anything. So I'm taking that as a win because before I would just start crying and crying for at least 15 minutes just of the idea of leaving. So I would say that I'm feeling much better. I'm extremely happy to be here. I'm extremely grateful to be here. I love my uni room. I love the university, at least for now. The people here are extremely nice. All of the encounters that I had were very positive. So I'm just focusing on the positives. I'm excited to start uni. And for now, my emotions are pretty good. I know that it might not stay like that all the time. I might go through other waves of emotion where I feel sad, where I feel stressed, where I miss my family. But for now, right now, I'm okay and I'm happy with that. And I'm just soaking everything in. I'm soaking the newness. The newness, that's not a word, but I'm just soaking everything in. And right now I'm loving it. And I'm pretty sure that you'll love it too when you get to uni. So don't worry too much about that. Okay, so for the last part of this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about a few pieces of advice that I have if you're feeling anxious, stressed, panic, or whatever other emotions for actually going to university. And these are the pieces of advice that I kind of also use on myself before leaving, so I hope they can help you too. So the first thing that I have is that you are not alone. Everybody around you is feeling on some degree the same emotions that you are feeling. Maybe some people are not feeling what you're feeling now, but they might feel it in a few months. Because leaving for uni is a very big transition. It's a very big life transition. You know, you're kind of starting your adult life, you're leaving your family, and you now have to kind of cater for yourself. So everybody around you is feeling the same thing. And I feel that there's a very big sense of empowerment with that, because you know that your flatmates, you know that the people in the other flat, the people in the other accommodation are feeling the same thing. So it means that you can really help each other out because everybody knows how you're feeling. And you're not alone, and there's a really big sense of I feel like maybe community or something like that with this transition. You're not alone. Everybody around you is feeling the same way. So you shouldn't be scared of that, and you shouldn't feel like you're like not normal. You are normal. Like everybody else, you're just normal. You're just going through a transition. It's uncomfortable, it's scary, but it's normal. The next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is that we live in an amazing era. We live in a time where we have access to technology. We have access to so many different things, which means that yes, you're leaving your family. Yes, you're leaving home. Yes, you might be living, you know, a 13 or a 12 or 10-hour plane ride from your parents, but you have your phone where you can call your parents in less than a minute. You know, you can talk to them at any time of the day because you have that phone, which means that yes, physically you're far from them, but emotionally you can always call them. You know, you're not alone in that sense. You can still call them. You don't have to write a letter and wait for a couple weeks for it to arrive. You have access to technology, and that's an amazing thing, which means that whenever you feel down, whenever you need to hear the voice of your mother, of your father, of your sister or whatever, you can. And that's an amazing thing to have. So don't forget that. It's that yes, you're leaving physically, but emotionally and mentally you're not. You can still call them whenever you like. So that's also something that really helped me. The next thing I have to talk to you guys about kind of relates and ties back to what I said previously, but is that you should focus on what's ahead of you and not focus on what you're leaving behind. And in French we have this saying that says, on sait ce qu'on perd, mais on sait pas ce qu'on gagne, which basically means that we know what we're losing, but we don't know what we're going to be winning. And so not knowing what you're going to be winning, not knowing what's ahead of you, means that you have infinite possibility. You can literally sculpt and create your own destiny, create what you want your life to look like. And that's extremely positive. It means that you kind of have a fresh start and you can start over and just create the life you want to be living. And focus on what's ahead of you. Focus on everything that you're going to be learning. Focus on everything that's positive rather than focusing on everything that you're leaving behind. Because as I said, we all have a choice. We can either focus on what we're losing or we can focus on what's ahead of us and, you know, carving and creating the life we love. And then the last thing that also really helped me was that whatever happens to me here, whatever happens to me in the next 5 or 6 years in medical school and me, starting my adult life now, is going to be a positive. Either it's a positive because it is a true 100% positive, it's something that's amazing that happens to me, and yeah, it's amazing. Or I fail, or something negative happens to me, but I'll just jump back, I'll bounce back, and I'll learn from that. And in the end, I'll become a better person because of what happened to me that was a negative. But in the long run, it actually will be something positive because I can learn from that. Everything that happens to us in life is something that's made for us to learn. And so nothing should really be taken as negatives per se. Sometimes we just have to go through hardships and difficult times to then understand in hindsight that these hard times make us who we are now, and we have to be grateful as well for these hardships. So I'm going to roll with it. I know that whatever happens to me here in the long run, in 10 to 15 years, will be positives. That's I'm sure. So yeah, these are all of the advice that I have for you guys. I hope that this video was able to help you, that it helped you calm down a little bit about the idea of leaving your family and going to university. If you ever feel sad, if you ever feel, like you're alone, you can always DM me, talk to me on Instagram. I'll be here. We're all together. We're not alone. We're all feeling the same way, so I'll be really happy to talk to you guys about that if you ever feel alone. So yeah, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share this video with other people that could potentially need to listen to this to feel a bit calmer about this life transition that awaits them. And yeah, I think I'm done. Thank you for watching.